Reserves the balance of our time. Gentleman from New York.
Mr. Speaker, I think we're now approaching about year 9 of Democrats suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. No matter what is before this House, no matter what the rule before us today actually contains, my colleagues across the aisle find a way to make this about President Trump. Not the substance of the legislation, not the issues before the American people, not the suffering that the last 4 years have brought on them. Not the costs facing families, not the failures of their own record. It's just about Trump to them. And while they're fixated on that, the American people have paid the price. In 2022, while Democrats were consumed by their latest Trump obsession, families were being crushed by the worst inflation spikes in 40 years after trillions upon trillions in Democratic spending overheated the economy. Groceries, gas, rent, they all skyrocketed. You didn't hear a peep on the other side of the aisle. Democrats didn't fix it. They didn't even acknowledge it, and then they doubled down on it and made it worse. In 2024, with a border wide open and millions of illegal aliens pouring into our communities across the country, Democrats once again ignored the top concerns of American families. Instead of securing the border or addressing affordability, they doubled down on the same tired narrative, claiming that President Trump was a threat to democracy. And you hear more of it today. And the voters rejected it. And they lost the Electoral College. And they lost the popular vote. They lost every swing state on the table. And since then, Democrats haven't learned a thing. They've spent their time defending wasteful programs, failed policies, bureaucratic overreach, all while opposing every serious effort by President Trump and House Republicans to clean up the mess that they left behind. And yet here we are today, hearing the same hysterics. The American people have tuned it out. They know what actually matters: trying to lower costs, keeping communities safe, securing reliable energy, and restoring accountability in Washington. And that's exactly what the bills under this rule are about. While Democrats rehash old grievances and relive the same political fixation for the 9th year in a row, Republicans are focused on delivering results for working families. And after 4 years of economic mismanagement under Democratic leadership, Democrats are suddenly pretending to care about trade and tariffs in the American economy. And it's quite a performance. And the American people, they see right through it. For 4 years, Democrats told families not to believe their own eyes as inflation hit 40-year highs, as their grocery bills exploded and their energy costs soared. They brushed off concerns from workers and manufacturers who were watching their jobs disappear overseas while Washington signed one bad trade deal after another. They told Americans that surrendering leverage was smart trade policy, even as foreign countries flooded our markets and shut their own doors for American producers. Now, President Trump's back in office and trying to right the ship and delivering results, and Democrats are scrambling to rewrite history. Under President Trump's America First trade agenda, the trade deficit has narrowed to its smallest level since the mid-2020 year, down more than 35% over last year alone. Exports are up 6% year over year, reaching their second highest level on record. And inflation-adjusted exports of consumer goods are the largest ever. The trade deficit with China has narrowed to its second smallest since 2009. And in the third quarter of 2025, real exports grew 4.1% annual rate, while imports fell 5%, adding roughly 1 full percentage point to real GDP growth. In November alone, the trade deficit was cut by more than half compared to last year, driven by rising tariff revenues as President Trump secured better terms for American workers, farmers, and manufacturers. And this didn't happen by accident. For decades, weak trade policies allowed foreign governments to exploit American openness while protecting their own industries. President Trump ended that arrangement by using tariffs as leverage. He forced countries to come to the table, and they have, and they are continuing to. Since announcing his trade agenda in April, President Trump has secured new and improved trade deals with major partners covering more than half of the global GDP, spanning Europe, Asia, and the Americas. And at the same time, companies are responding by committing trillions of dollars in new investment, bringing jobs back here home. rebuilding supply chains, and putting American workers first again. Shouldn't that be what we're working on here? I could go on and on, Mr. Speaker, but today's debate is not about relitigating trade policy or listening to Democrats pretend to suddenly discover economic responsibility. Today we're focused on the 6 bills under this rule, bills that reflect the same common sense approach that President Trump has applied to trade, strengthening domestic production, lowering costs, restoring reliability, and undoing the damage of the Biden years. That is the work before us today, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves